Another week, hard hits. I'm Connor Joe. We are back. We are back, baby. And the most important thing is we are 6 episodes strong. 5 weeks into the season, I think this was one of the most craziest upside down weeks of the season. And the most important thing is as soon as we got off the air for episode 5, everything was just upside down. The first thing to be noted was that the elite called for a fire sale. You know, that tough loss that he had within my Thielens called for a fire sale within 12 hours of that matchup. Traded Juju Smith-Schuster, traded Michael Thomas, rumored to trade a handful of others right now. And then what happened less than a day after he made all those trades? The stat correction finally came down. We're talking about 0.90 is what flipped, and the elite ended up beating in my Thielens. Wow. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody. The stat correction happens, I think the stat correction happens, which changes a matchup. I think it only happened 2 times to my knowledge. The first one being a couple of years ago, 4th down and bitches. I believe he was facing, I don't know who he was facing, but he ended up losing because of the stat correction. And then this one flipped 2 days after the matchup. Wow. And the fire sale started. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what's been going on in this league. But let's get into the matchups for this week. I think most notably is if we look at the standings after week 5, we have 6 teams that are sitting at 3-2, and we have 5 teams sitting at 2-3. We have a couple of loners at 1-4 on the bottom, and then we have trash season sitting at 5-0 on top. Wild! Like, it's a big jambalaya of fuckery right now. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows. No one can separate each other right now from the rest of the pack. So with that said, we're going to get into our matchups. The first matchup we're going to take a look at is most notably, I think, the best matchup of this week of what went down at the end of the week. We had Speeding Bullets facing up against Pop, a team that was both sitting, needed a win. Pop had lost 2 straight. Speeding Bullets finally got his first win the week before that. It was a very high-flying scoring affair. Both teams put in the points. Both teams should have been very happy with the productivity that they got. But unfortunately, it came down to Monday Night Football. Speeding Bullets had the formula was straightforward. He said it himself. The formula was Jimmy Garoppolo to George Kittle. That's where the win was going to come in at. And fortunately for him, it did. It barely happened, but it did. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo ended up putting 16.9 points, not the best performance, but George Kittle put 17.8. It's exactly what he needed. He ended up grabbing the victory, beat Pop by 3.64 points. Most notably, it's just crazy the productivity from both teams. Speeding Bullets had 9 players in double digits. Pop had 8 players in double digits. I mean, the list, we can go on and on. I mean, Speeding Bullets had 2 players with 22 plus points with Lindsey, Godwin. Thielen had a great 29.5 that led the scoring for Speeding Bullets. What's crazy is Pop had 2 players that just killed it. Aaron Jones with 45.7 and Matt Ryan with 31.7. It's just the productivity that he got from all his players. I would be very frustrated. Pop put up 178.9 points only to lose to Speeding Bullets who put 182.5 points. It's frustrating. If I was Pop, I would be very frustrated, especially to go out this way to take your 3rd straight loss. Speeding Bullets, he should be very happy with this. This is exactly what his team should have been doing from the very beginning of the season. But to get the productivity from he did, from every single body on that team, that's phenomenal for Speeding Bullets. Speedy Bullets started the season 0-3, left for dead, streeled 2 straight victories off, and now he could be a contender. Pop, on the other hand, started off 2-0, and now he's reeled 3 losses. Very frustrating. And I think the biggest deal breaker on this one, when we look at this matchup, who really lost it for Pop, was we talk so much about his special teams. And at the end of the day, his special teams realistically lost this game for him. Greg Zerline missed a game-winning kick for the Rams, which would have been a couple of points. And not to mention the Chicago Bears, I thought this was a cupcake game. They were in London. They were playing the Oakland Raiders. And they only put up 4 points defensively. That's frustrating if I was Pop. I mean, you rely on that special teams to really bail you out, and he had everything else in line, and the Bears really just stunk this one up. Um, Also, I mean, look at what D-Hawk left on his bench with the 49ers put up 19 points defensively. Like this, he could have put up a 200 burger. This could have been the first time we saw two teams put 200 burger on the board. Um, Especially with D-Hawk started the Rams, they got 0 points. D-Hawk, he's in prime position now. You know, he had tons of offers to trade his players early on in the season when he was sitting at 0-2, 0-3. He stood pat. He believed in the team that he had, and he got the productivity, even from the ones that he just wasn't getting from early on in the season. Devontae Freeman put up 15 points. Mixon put up double-digit points this week. It's a very satisfying win for Speeding Bullets. Pop, on the other hand, still been rumored in the rumor mill. He just acquired Juju Smith-Schuster, boosted up that receiving core, got 16 points from him. It's just frustrating, especially when he has somebody like D-Hop on his team, and his D-Hop's quarterback puts up 56 points, fantasy points, and only for D-Hop to get 12 of those points. Like, what's going on? It's very frustrating if I was him. But moving on, it's something I think Pop can rebound from. Speeding Bullets is in great position right now. We look at the next matchup. No Fat Chicks was going up against the Power Game. I thought this was going to be a game the Power Game was going to rebound. I wasn't too proud. I wasn't too fond of No Fat Chicks' offense, his productivity in Week 4. I thought it was very flat. I thought his lineup management wasn't the solidest. And not to mention, Saquon Barkley's out. So it's like I thought this was a prime puzzle piece in his team. It didn't affect him. He put up 144.5 points, beat the Power Game by 25 plus points. He had only 5 players in double digits, but Amari Cooper really led the way with 39 points, led the scoring in this matchup. Edelman had a cool 21. Ertz had 14. His quarterback, Winston didn't even have a good game, putting him just barely 13 points. And Ingram only had 11.9. So it wasn't a solid performance. It wasn't the best performance, but he had a lot of prime people in position that really helped him grab this victory. The Power Game, on the other hand, it's frustrating because he finally got the Russell Wilson performance again that he didn't get in Week 4. And if he got that performance last week by Russell Wilson, he would have won this game. Tyler Boyd had a better game with 23 points. Alvin Kamara is just not putting in these numbers as a number 1 pick with only 13.9 points, which is frustrating because that team is scoring points. That team is doing well. I don't know what it is with Kamara. He just doesn't seem like that feature back that is number 1 pick worthy. And one of his 4 double-digit performances was a defensive player with Burns. So it's definitely frustrating. He had 5 players that failed to put up more than like 1.8 points. Emmanuel Sanders with 1.4, AP with 1.8, Fant with 1.1, Sly with 1, and Tampa Bay defense with 0. So it's not good times for the Power Game. He's looking at first to worst right now, and that's definitely not something where he wants to be at the moment. So the Power Game, panic mode. This week is, we talk about do or die every week, I feel like, but fortunately for Power Game, it's so close in the standings. Everyone's so close except number 1. This could be the week where it's do or die for him. No Fat Chick, definitely a great rebound. Amari Cooper definitely helps that, but he's in prime position. But the Power Game is definitely in panic mode. The next matchup we take a look at is Mr. Incognito against Boo Boo. You know how I feel about Mr. Incognito. I just think that this team constantly relies on the Patriots and Jameis Winston for the last few weeks. And it's a weird combo for him to grab victories. We had Team Boo Boo, who just is not a great team. I think his team name kind of reflects on what his team really is. Team Boo Boo, I told y'all that I feel this upset could be coming on. And Team Boo Boo ended up pulling up an upset. He beat Mr. Incognito 122.7 to 109.16, a 13.56 point victory. Am I surprised? No. I mean, he has puzzle pieces that if they can go off, great. Is this something that we're going to see from Team Boo Boo every week? No. But this is also a product of Mr. Incognito just didn't. His people that he's been relying on didn't click. Jameis Winston, He's not going to put up in all these points. He put up only 15.4 points. Patriots, they're not putting 39 burgers down all the time. They only put 15 points down on the board. David Johnson was the leading scorer for him, 17.1. Mike Williams, 10.4. Montgomery had a 10.1. He had 6 players in double digits. Cool. But it all fell down with Mike Evans had a 0 burger. One of his defensive players had a 0 burger. He benched the Vikings defense, which would have, I don't know why I mentioned that. That wouldn't have done anything. It's a wash. But it's just, he relies on the same couple of people, and it burned him this week. Team Boo Boo, on the other hand, congratulations. You grabbed a second victory. At this point, I think he's avoiding, let's try to avoid being in last place. Tom Brady, 25.9, led all scoring in this matchup. Sony Michel, 19.8. Todd Gurley had 17.2, which led him for the week. Kickstarted him on Thursday. Denver Z at 14. Vinatieri at 12. But, his team is not flashy. Debo Samuel with 0.8. He keeps on starting Jalen Ramsey when he's not playing with 0. And then Melvin Gordon finally had a better game with 5.8. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know how I feel about this team. I don't think Boo Boo's not going to be doing anything fantastic throughout the season. I think he's just fighting to stay out of last place. Mr. Incognito, on the other hand, he got burned by Antonio Brown earlier on this season. Good news for him, Tyreek Hill's coming back, which puts another damper for the rest of the league, who's ever playing Mr. Incognito. He's sitting at 3-2. He's in good position. He's in the middle of the jambalaya. But now let's just see what he can do moving forward. Next matchup we take a look at before we hit a break. Limo riding, jet flying son of a gun, who had a shitty performance in week 4, going up against the Elite. The Elite, like we mentioned, he fire-sailed his team, and then his team got a stat correction and won. And the funny thing is, if we look at one of the trades that the Elite made, I think his team got better with one of the trades that he made. He traded Juju Smith-Schuster to Pop, and he received a 5th-round pick and DJ Chark. Why do I mention DJ Chark? Because DJ Chark led all scoring in this matchup with 32.4 points for the Elite. If I was Pop, I'd be frustrated because that's what I need on my team is somebody like DJ Chark. But instead, I traded him, and he led scoring for the Elite. The Elite ended up winning this matchup easily, 45.5 points. This is the second straight week Limo Ryden had a shitty performance. He put up like 101 in week 4. This week he put up only 93.64. Relied on the same handful of people, Cooper Kupp, Patrick Mahomes, and James White. Those are the only 3 players that put up double digits for his team. His team's getting exposed. Delaney Walker had a 1.5. Julio Jones only had 5.7. Golden Tate finally came back, but couldn't find his rhythm with a 3.8. Not a solid performance. He's in panic mode. 2 straight losses. Barely put up 101 last week. This week couldn't put up over 100. Low scoring team. The Elite, on the other hand, wheeling off 2 straight victories. Fire-sailed his team last week. Now he grabs a victory. 32.4 from Chark. Jacobs finally had a rebound game with 27.8 against the Bears. Carson had a solid game with 18.8. Carolina with his 14 points. Jacoby Brissett, 11.9. Mason Crosby at 10. He had 6 players in double digits. This is one of his best performances this season. And he kicked Mike's ass. Not to mention, he started Dorsett with 0. Jordan Matthews with 0. Waller only had 5.9. Preston Williams only had 5.3. And he sat Gardner Minshew on the bench with 23.1. I don't know how I feel about the Elite. He fire-sailed a lot of his hot pieces with Michael Thomas, got rid of Juju Smith-Schuster, got a couple of pieces in return, and he had a great win this week. Can he do this moving forward? We don't know. But I think the Elite might be a dark horse now. We thought very highly of his team before the season started. Didn't have the start that he wanted. Caught a break last week, but caught that break a little bit too late. He reacted to where his team was sitting, made some moves, but he grabbed a victory. I think the Elite, watch out for the Elite. Limo Ryden, on the other hand, he's got to rebound next week. Tough loss against the Martella. Now he faces the Martella he definitely doesn't like with 4th down and bitches. We'll see where this team's standing. Once again, both teams are in the middle of the pack, the Elite on the higher end. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will take a look at the rest of the matchups and then look into our power rankings. Stay tuned.